Now, Ray, the Eagles have obviously had a lot of success over the past decade. They've been to multiple NFC Championship games. They've represented the city in a Super Bowl. But I always got the sense that the team, and I'm not one of those typical Eagle pessimists or a Philadelphia pessimist. I really just felt, though, that the Eagles didn't have whatever it took to get over the hump. Maybe it was Donovan McNabb, maybe it wasn't, whatever. But with the youth right now, the youth movement that is in Philadelphia at the core, too, McCoy, Macklin, Jackson, Selleck, even Vic to a degree, do you think that possibly right now the sky is the limit for the Eagles right now?
I don't know about the sky being the limit. I have real questions about this team right now. I don't necessarily see the arrow pointing up. I really don't. I don't know. They have a lot of young players on the team. There's no doubt about that. You draft 13 guys in 1 year, you're going to wind up with a young team, and they do. And youth is good, but youth is unproven. You point to the youth on the roster, but how many of them are going to be really good players? How many of them have shown you to this point that they are good players or have the ability to be good players? I don't know. I think there's real question about, is Mike Vick coming back this year? Is he going to come back as the MVP Mike Vick of the midseason, or are you going to get back to Mike Vick that finished the season and looked a lot like the Mike Vick of Atlanta? I don't know that either. I think you got a lot of questions on the offensive line. I think the decision to make Juan Castillo the defensive coordinator, the guy's never coached defense anywhere this side of Texas football, high school football, I think is a huge question mark. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of this team. To me, there's more, to borrow from Donald Rumsfeld, there's more unknowns than knowns right now about this team moving forward. Now, maybe it'll all work out. Last year, I certainly didn't think going into the season that this team would win the NFC East and go to the playoffs. They exceeded beyond my expectations last year. So I'm not making a prediction and saying it's absolutely going to turn out this way. But right now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly where this team is. I don't think the division. The division is undergoing some change. I don't know that any of the teams in this division are going to be all that strong. So maybe you're going to wind up on top, similar to the way you did last year. But in terms of the bigger picture of saying that this is a team that looks to me like a team that's on the cusp of winning the Super Bowl, I don't know. To me, there are a lot of questions that I'm going to need answered before I'm prepared to say that.
All right. Well, there's definitely a lot in the Juan Castillo thing and the offensive line. There are a lot of question marks, and you make great points. Now, Ray, we know you're a very busy man, and we'll get you out of here as soon as possible. I just had one quick follow-up.
Sure.
I love you in Glen Mac now. Every time I'm driving through the area down there, I go right to 610 and if I can, hopefully I'm catching you and Glenn. You guys actually put out a book called The Ultimate Book of Sports Movies, and it's really great. You guys ended up ranking Rocky #1, and it's not homerism for any of those out there that might ask.
No, it's not. It's not. People always accuse us of that, but it's not. We genuinely felt that was the best sports movie. Best sports movie ever made, and it was a close call. You can make a very good case for Hoosiers, and you can make a very good case for The Natural and for Raging Bull, and for all the ones that were in the top 10. But we went with Rocky because we thought that did the sports movie underdog theme better than anybody else.
Yeah, and me and James actually did a segment not too long ago, somewhat similar to that, our top 3 and our worst 3. And I didn't actually get to the part of your book yet that has the the section for the worst. Ours actually ended up coming out as Caddyshack 2 and Major League 2. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know if I would make them the worst, but they would certainly be on my list of the worst. I think Caddyshack is probably in terms of the greatest fall off from the original to the sequel.
Yeah. That was my issue with it.
Yeah, the fall off from Caddyshack 1 to Caddyshack 2 is probably greater than any sports sequel. And we've seen a lot of sequels. Major League 2 wasn't as good as Major League 1, but it didn't fall as far short as Caddyshack 2 did to Caddyshack 1. Yeah. Caddyshack, the original Caddyshack actually makes our top 10.
Okay.
That's the ninth, in our view, the ninth best sports movie ever made. And I think it's still, for as many years ago as that film was made, it's still, and as many times as we've watched it, both Glenn and I, it still makes us laugh.
Yeah,
it's a classic. Caddyshack 2 to me didn't have a single amusing moment.
Yeah, all the scenes with between Bill Murray and Chevy Chase that were as people that actually know more about the movie, they were kind of off the cuff and unscripted because they had a strange relationship. Just a classic, and for me that was why Caddyshack 2 made it, because just the fall off. So
yeah.
But
it just didn't work. And actually, most sports movies when they go to sequels,
they're stretching.
Don't really work. It's hard to do. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why when we had a little pushback on the Rocky choice, when people would say, "Oh, Rocky, it's not that," and it's always because of the sequels.
Mm-hmm.
In Rocky, the sequels without a doubt diminished the impact of the original. When people think of Rocky now, they think of the totality of it. They think of all 6 movies, and they went through stretches where it was the thing went way off the track, and the character became like a cartoon character, and and his opponents became more and more cartoonish, and the thing became more outrageous and outlandish, and whenever Glenn and I would do interviews or do talks and people would challenge us on the choice of Rocky, what we would say is, forget about the sequels. We're talking about the original film. Go back and watch the original film.
It won Best Picture.
And it won Best Picture, and justly, it won Best Picture in a year when the competition was as great as any year that's ever been. I mean, it beat out Network, it beat out On Golden Pond, it beat out All the President's Men, and I think Reds. I mean, it was one of the best. It was one of the toughest Final Fives ever, and it won. And I thought justly so. If you just look at the original film and forget about everything else that followed, but if you just look at the original film, it's a wonderful, wonderful story that works for many, many reasons. And I mean, we picked it unashamedly. I mean, the Philadelphia thing aside, I mean, we thought it was the best sports movie ever. So we still, that was the choice that we made, and we still stand by that.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Didinger, we will let you go. We know you're a very busy man. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Turnpike Throwdown.
Thanks a lot, Ray.
Hey, it was my pleasure. I enjoyed it. Take care, guys.
All right, you too. Take care. Thank you very much.
All right. My pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, that's the Turnpike Throwdown. We'll catch you on the other side.
Peace.